Welcome back to the van. This is van build number 3, let's go. So the plan for today is that we're gonna get the window sorted. That is the main premises. I don't know if you saw the last video, but basically this window's leaking, it's no good. So I need to take the window out and then rebond it. It's a bit of a faff to have to do, but it's kind of my mistake. I made the frame for the window too thick and that was pressing against the window and it's popped that top corner out. So that is job number 1. Now job number 2 is to do all of the wiring. I need to get all of the wiring in place, so it means that basically once I add the walls, it's super easy. I'm not going to be trying to run wires after adding the walls because it's an absolute nightmare. And finally, I would like to insulate it. Again, I've said this so many times. I want to get this whole thing insulated. I think that's been my plan for the last 2 episodes, but things have got in the way. Other projects have started and finished. Yeah, and we've had problems along the way. So let's get on with the episode. Stick around and hopefully everything goes well today. I need that window sorting ASAP. Fingers crossed. The first job that I plan to do today is actually the roof fan. So I'm gonna make the frame for the roof fan now. That means that I can kind of measure it up, cut out, and go from there. So I've got the frame cut out, just need to drill the holes and put it all together and it'll be good to go. Like a glove. There we go, not bad. That is the placement marked up. So what I now need to do is drill 4 holes that I can get on top of the roof and basically just cut in between them all. Typical, I did notice that I marked up the right place, but I just moved it over slightly to make sure it's on the high bit, not the low bit. So that's 4 holes. What I now need to do is get on top of the van and tape it out so that it means that I can cut it nice and easily. That's all taped up, so there's only one more job to do. Time to cut it out. Safety first, let's go. That's the area now washed with some rubbing alcohol, so it's nice and clean. I've just given it another go and it seems like degreaser was a lot better. Just your typical kitchen cleaner, but now I will go with rubbing alcohol again just one more time to make sure it's nice and clean so it doesn't fail with the bonding. I've just added some fillers to fill out the dips and I've just used 9mm plywood, so that's all it needs to be because it's going to be siliconed all the way around, so it's going to be watertight, and this is what I've done in the past and it works completely fine. So it's ready for me to press down. I've gone for a really thick bead on the skylight just to make sure that it does stay in place. And with those fillers, it should be perfect. And then once I'm done, I'll just make sure it's smooth around the edges and fill some of these sections in as well to make sure it's all watertight. There we go. So that is all of the sealant done. As you can see, it's not the prettiest, but it's really watertight because the gap is probably about here. So it's a thick bead and I've made sure it's all covered. So now what I need to do is screw this in place and it'll be pretty much good to go. I will obviously wait for this to dry longer before I start pushing or pulling or anything, but that'll be all good for now. Just like that, the roof fan is done and I think it looks great. I'll show you from down on the floor. That's what it looks like from over here. Another job ticked off and looking good. So soon I will hopefully be able to crack on with the window. I was hoping to do that today, however, the materials to do it didn't actually arrive today. So by the looks of the forecast, it's raining over the weekend. However, Monday morning is meant to be nice and sunny. So fingers crossed, Monday will be sunny and I'll be able to do it then, especially because Tuesday's sunny as well. So even if I don't finish it, I've got time. It is Sunday morning and look at that. It is nice blue skies outside. So today's jobs are going to be to finally do the window. I'm really excited to get it done just because it's going to be a stress off of my back. But for now, because I need 2 people to help me for that one, what I am doing is I'm just taking apart because I want to have a wire go through here, all the way through into the engine bay. And that's going to hold this little horn that will be connected to the panic alarm. That means when this switch is flicked, it will turn the lights and that horn on. So hidden in there, you can just about see it, is the horn. So it's just on the other side of this metal panel. And that wiring goes into the van through that little grommet hole there. And then it goes up. It's going to then go through all of here. But at the moment it's obviously hung because this will hold it in place. Comes out of this hole just to here. And as you can see, I've just tested it and it works all okay. There we go, just like that. I've put everything back together. So now it's all neat and you wouldn't even tell but there was a wire coming through there unless you took it off. And there we go. So that is now the window off. So what I need to do is clean everything up. So first I need to get a Stanley knife blade and get all of this off, and then also just use some rubbing alcohol just to clean up any of that. And then that means that I can prep it and get the new window, well, the old window put back on. I've primed it up after completely cleaning it and putting that U-trim back on. It's looking good. I'm hoping this time, if I don't put any pressure against it, it should be all okay. I did notice it was a really strong bond and it was really hard to get off, but that's good. So hopefully I can do that again this time and it won't have any areas that it will peel away. Just a quick top tip when doing these windows, make sure you always whack your master bond in some really hot water. Otherwise it's an absolute nightmare to use this stuff. It's so tough, you just can't do anything with it. There we go, and that is the window fully back on. I tested it with some water and it's completely watertight. That's why it's still got some stuff down here. But yeah, it is looking good and I'm really happy. It is the following day, I did it yesterday. It's just a shame that in some areas I have scratched the van. Thankfully it's not gone through to the metal, but it is a little bit annoying. And maybe some things that I might just kind of touch up here and there in future. But yeah, I'm happy that it's at least now done. I've also reinstalled the inside after altering it. So I just want to show you how big of a gap it is now. It is quite a bit bigger, just to make sure that it's not pressing up against the window. You can see that I can fit, you know, a ruler all the way around, all the way up into those top corners where it was previously an issue. And the same on this side, all the way up and all the way around. I am still pretty paranoid that it won't be okay, but I've made sure that it's loose and it's not pressing against the window in any way. So fingers crossed, it will be okay. If it's not okay, then I think I'm going to give up. But yeah, it should be all good. There we go. So with that window done, what I now am moving on to is the carpeting of these back doors all the way up and round. So the first thing that I've done is I've put this second piece, so it means it's a little bit easier for me to work with. Before there was quite a big gap there and it would have been a bit difficult to carpet around it and have it stay in place. So adding that filler piece just means it's going to be a lot smoother and a lot nicer. So what I now need to do is insulate all of these gaps all the way up and round, and then I can cut the piece of carpet ready to stick it all down. Okay, there we go. I'm looking a little bit hot and sweaty because it was a bit more difficult than I expected. However, that's it done. I wanted to do it in one continuous run, and I have in the past, but it's a little bit more difficult with the way that I was doing it this time. The way that I did it this time was with a big sheet. I didn't do the outline of the metal work, so I did it as one whole sheet and it was a little bit more difficult. So I had to cut it in two places. As you can see, just about there is a seam line, and the same over on that side. So what my plan is I'll try and find something just to go over that to look a little bit decorative and make it look nice. However, this one did go well. I got the whole thing done, so it goes all the way from the top, round the corner and down, and I'm happy with how that went. That's got the trim on and it's looking good. Once everything is actually put on, the walls and things, it's gonna look so much better because you won't see the exposed edge and it will just all tie nicely. It went pretty well with keeping it all nice and straight. However, some areas it didn't, but it's so hard to see because it's all black. It looks like one shadow and it's perfect. I was finding that I'd have to actually feel to see where the bumps are. I couldn't actually see them myself, especially working on the back doors. Now that those two things are done, what I can look at doing is putting up this long piece of batten here, almost like this one and that one. So it means that I can put the ceiling up whenever I want. But what I also need to do is the insulation and the wiring. I go on and on and on about it. I've done a bit of the wiring for the above cab storage, so I need to finish that off and then get all of the wiring done, because once that's done, I can insulate and start looking at the bed, because obviously it's going to be the drop down bed, and anything else like the ceiling, any walls, furniture and whatnot. So yeah, exciting. Okay, so I've now got the really satisfying job of adding these little plastic pieces in the right places. It just helps tie it all together, you know. It makes it feel like this black just is broken up a little bit and makes it feel a little bit nicer. I put the trim back on and that all fits again nicely, and you can't see it but out of shot. I've also got the lock mechanism back on and it all looks good. So I need to do the two pieces of plastic. I've done one already here, the second one on this side, and then both of them on the other side. So I'm going to crack on and do that now. The next thing that I need to do is the wiring for all of this. I've done some of it, but you can see I've still got these lights down. I was going to keep these lights, however, I'm not a big fan with one, how they look, and two, it's really difficult to do the screws up because they're on this side and there's a very small amount of space to work with. So I've got some new lights that I'm going to install that are very similar to the ones that I bought for my last van. And they're just really easy because these screws are in line and basically they will go up straight through the light and into the ceiling. So it's super easy to sort out the screws. There you go. They are the two different lights that I've got. So this is the old one, a little bit bulkier, a bit bigger, and also difficult to actually install because those screws are on the side. Whereas these ones should be a lot easier to install because the screws are on the front. So these bend back, you can easily screw it in. And then, yeah, it should be all good after that. So I'm going to install these ones and show you afterwards once I've got everything else also installed. There we go. So I have now just wired up those lights. I've also done the USB and the switches for things like the exterior light that's just on the door. And then on this side, the same for the panic alarm, this light, this USB. However, I haven't wired up the switch here. This is the switch that will be the lights above the bed, but it's a two-way switch. So that's going to have to wait for another day just because I haven't got the wires in for it yet. I've made it easy for myself by just having two inputs. One of them's for the horn and the exterior light, and the other one is for the USBs and the interior lights. So only two wires will come out and be feeding this, and that's fine with this 1.5mm cable. You can also see what I've done is added this extra piece at the top here, and that's purely because this wasn't keeping it far enough back. When I get out, you can see that back batten is leaning in slightly because it's just slightly coming outwards. Whereas now this front batten is nice and straight to the wall. That's because I've added that batten at the top there, so I need to add the next one over that side as well. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell, but I've had a little bit of a haircut. So what my plan is to do now is I've started doing some of the wiring. As you can see, there's two wires there, some wires at the back there. So I need to go through all of my plans and add all of the wiring now in the whole of the van so I can get that all sorted and then I can insulate. So yeah, let's just crack on and see how much wiring I can get done. Hopefully there'll be no difficult parts to come across. The only thing that I do find sometimes hard is going through some of these pillars. The gaps aren't massive, so it means that you're limited to the amount of wires that you can run inside the walls and inside the pillars. So we'll see. Hopefully it should be all okay, but I'll let you guys know. There we go. So as you can see, it's a little bit like a spider's web in here. I've set all of the wires in the right place and they're all wired down to where the batteries are going to be. So that is where the 12 volt fuse box, the 24 fuse box, and also the 240 volt plugs will be. And they go to various different points in the van, up and over to the opposite side and everything. So I've got everything that I need. I'm really happy with how it went. However, there's one thing that I haven't done, that's put the wire in for the bed, because I think it's going to be in this corner, but I don't know for sure. So I don't want to put that wire in until I know exactly where the bed is going to drop down. So I'm going to do some research. It's either going to be over that top corner or this top corner, but hopefully it's that one because it's a little bit closer and a little bit easier to get to. But that is all for today's episode. So thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one. In the next episode, I'll look at doing the insulation, but also look at putting the DIY roof rack on. I've got some uni strut and everything ready to go. So I just need to put it up, put it on and put the solar panel on top. Then I can drill the holes and make sure they go to the right place as well. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.